How Long Gone? Thursday. I know what day it is this time. I've gotten my week straight. I'm in the J. Crew office in my zone. Feels good to be back recording here.
Okay, you're back in the pod, the lab. This is your Dear Media Studios, but there's a lot more sweaters tied around the shoulders.
Exactly. I think at Dear Media Studios, it's a mandatory midriff reveal, which is, a policy I'm not going to speak out against, but, it's something to consider.
Depends on the associate who in question is what you're saying. Well, speaking of West Hollywood midriffs, I went to your friends of the show, Thom Browne. They had a store opening on Melrose Place, and I was looking around, and, a Thom Browne event, everyone is wearing tip to tail in their finest browneries. They've got the silver dog bags. They have the peculiar umbrellas. Everyone's got skirts and the whole thing. But there was one guy who was wearing Thom Browne, the best I've ever seen it. He was wearing he was like a super slim suit. Mm-hmm. And then, like the tie was obviously perfectly untied and, askew. And then maybe a little flower in the front pocket of the jacket, a little tiny vest, and then the shirt underneath, like the white dress shirt underneath, instead of being tucked in, was cut. And it was revealing about a 2-inch midriff on a 3-piece suit. And to pull that off is very tough.
Yeah, that's
I was impressed.
God tier stuff. I mean, I've seen Kelly that works there. She's done some midriff and sleeve cutting, but like she's an expert, so it's a little different. Do you think this was a customer or an employee?
I think it could be a secret third thing, just like an influential bottom.
Okay.
Just like a rich kid who gets fashion really well. Or
knows how
just,
to do it.
You can kind of tell when somebody has been invited to the store opening or the dinner because they're a VIP client.
Of course, yeah.
Because they often look like their Chinese company just bought Hudson Bay in an acquisition.
We love an acquisition. we loved the acquisition. Took years, but we were able to finally get the job done.
And we're gonna close those factories and shut those guys down. So they either look like that, So it's not. So this guy looked cool. He looked as if he can get the TB for free. He's happy to buy it because money ain't a thing.
Did you introduce yourself to this gentleman?
No, I just kind of stared at him from 6 feet away and then told Carolyn he's the coolest dressed person there. I'm
trying to normalize just going up to people and being like, yeah, this looks good.
I do it all the time.
It's a nice thing to hear, but everyone thinks you're a creep if you do that now. Man or woman. You can't give a regular compliment like that. It's a little too suspect.
I agree, but also just like, how we handle the current cancellation landscape, the minefield. You got to be ready to have somebody look at you like you're a creep or a weirdo because you said, hey, that shirt looks really cool. Awesome. And then if they are protrude by that or creeped out by that, let them be.
Yeah.
I'm never going to see him again. Who gives a shit?
They kind of deserve it. Yeah. If you have a problem with that, then you deserve whatever the problem is.
50% of the time they're like, thanks, man.
Yeah.
And then the other half the time they're like, a strange person just talked to me on the street. What's happening? Peppers, and those people, you're never going to win them over to begin with. They're living in a prison of their own fear.
Walking through the West Village, you could definitely get pepper sprayed for saying, I like your bag. 100%. You're 100. That is the whole problem over there. Some chick leaving San Ambrose, fucking Aperol Spritz drunk. You give her a compliment. Mm-hmm. Good luck. You might get pushed into traffic.
That's when her fat friend grabs you. Come on, Ashley. We're leaving.
Come on, Ashley. The bread basket's gone.
Fat Fred ain't gonna let that shit slide.
Definitely not.
She's got eyes on the situation. Speaking of cancellation, I also hosted a book launch for our friend Honor Levy. I never get it right.
Our friend. Yeah,
our friend. Yeah, her book just got the paperback second edition or whatever.
That's okay. That's what. Okay.
Added a chapter, so I got to hang out with all of Los Angeles's finest edgelords and poets and literary geniuses.
So was this just a Red Scare Reddit meetup, or was this like real people?
No, it was real people. I got to meet Honor's parents, who were really nice and really sweet. But yeah, it was a nice collection of people, and she read a chapter, and we just kind of talked about random, we're just bullshitting on stage. And then we went to this restaurant called Baby Bistro, a new hot buzzing restaurant in Echo Park.
Don't love the name, but how was it?
Why don't you like it? It's a small bistro.
Yeah, I got that.
What if it's the size of an airplane hangar?
I'm checking it out now. I mean, it is cute. I like the web. Oh,
it's very cute. It's very
the website has handwriting on it, but it's bad handwriting. You know what I mean? This person clearly didn't do graffiti. This looks cute though.
Let me see this handwriting.
You know what I mean?
It's on their website?
Yeah, it looks like a first grader kind of vibe, like a high school girl.
I like this handwriting.
No. This feels like a font.
You think so?
I think that's a font.
Motherfucker.
So this is another fake restaurant with 6 things on the menu, so you have to eat afterwards.
Well, we fired the menu, and I think we were satisfied. We were satiated.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I'm looking at these B's. You can always tell if the letters are repeating, if it's a font or not.
The B's are repeating.
Are the B's giving repetition?
They could just be really accurate, but they're giving repetition to me. I
have to zoom in.
I'm no expert. Sorry, I lost focus because I was checking out the beans and nettles for 16.
Motherfucker, it is a font.
I told you.
The bean, honestly, no hyperbole. The bean dish was their most complex offering.
Dude, I love a bean. Where did I have beans the other day? I had some beans recently. They were so good. Oh, at Bar Bianchi, that new place in the East Village. The beans were amazing.
Okay, so I'm allowed to eat my beans for 16 at Baby Bistro, but when you go to Bar Bianchi to eat your beans for 16, that's okay? What's going on?
No, neither are okay. We're both losers. No, I'm not saying that at all. We're both losers that paid $20 for a plate of beans at a restaurant that might close in 6 months. But it was fun. It was fun being there. It tasted good when it was going down.
Honestly, you would have loved this meal. It's not the beef part, but their striped bass. You would have really been.
No, this looks.
You would have been wiggling that back leg like Marga. The turnips and tofu. Yeah. There was a pop from the raspberry.
Oh, raspberry! Gosh. I didn't see that list on the ingredients.
That was wild.
Ooh,
that was wild.
Okay, get crazy with it, Baby Bistro. Mm-hmm. Baby Bistro just sounds like Baby Billy, and that's why it's maybe it's a timing thing. For
yeah. I mean, it's not for everyone.
Do you think Danny McBride could be an investor? Do we know for sure where the money comes from?
Not 100% sure either way. That's definitely on the table.
So this is in Echo Park. Where is it? Is it like near Canyon Coffee and shit like that and like Despair Books, or is it in its own zone?
I've never been to Canyon Coffee because I think I'm too cool to do that stuff. But it's in this little...
I've been there once, and I have to say that you are too cool. Okay. And like I was embarrassed to be... The product was good. Crowd
I'm sure it's good. I would be too embarrassed to go there.
Deeply. I mean, going everywhere is embarrassing. You know that.
Going most places, not everywhere. But there's like a little tiny kind of a village, kind of like the Melrose Place, but
yeah,
in a more poverty-stricken part of Los Angeles.
Yeah, when I think of Echo Park, I think of poverty.
Well, I mean, are you being sarcasm or no?
At this point, I'm being sarcasm. I think that Echo Park is where a certain kind of rich person prefers to live because that's what they want to say about themselves.
Well, I mean, you can go to Sia's house on the top of the hill, or you can go to where I was at last night, where MS-13 is still holding the block down.
Look, I know you've woken up in some shitty 2 bedrooms in Echo Park. Don't get me wrong.
Come on, bro. Hey, talking about can I get a ride though?
Yo, like, where am I? I live kind of far from here.
You could just drop me off at Little Dom's. I mean, I'm just gonna go straight there anyway.
Dude, they have a really sick Bloody Mary. It's like super good.
Dude, once I get one of those in me, I'm ready to go. Yeah, so
okay.
There's a place called Perilla, and they sell like little Korean like lunch bento boxes and banchans. You like all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I love that. I like that there's a little zone though. I like being able to walk to several small businesses.
There's a bakery, there's like a smash burger place, there's this little wine bistro, and then of course there's a tattoo shop.
Oh, yeah,
just to round it all out.
You know the rent's going up when the tattooers move in. Oh man. We didn't talk about Drewski's whiteface skit, but I just wanted to shine the light.
We only have a brief minute. I think our guest might be here.
I just want to shine a light on that. So if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. That's all I can say.
I saw a video from a white gangster who had a rebuttal who said, we are few, but we do exist, and you have to respect us.
I saw that too. It's so cool. Oh man, it's such a great delivery. We announced today also we're going to be at Levitation Fest in Austin, September 25th through 28th. We're going to do a couple of things while we're in town.
Yeah, we're going to do some live potting, and it could be a little Them Jeans DJ set as well. But really,
hey, I don't want to get too excited now. Come on.
The lineup is really up my alley. We've got Blood Incantation, Unknown Mortal Orchestra, Jonestown Massacre, one of my favorite bands of all time, Blonde Redhead. Wednesday, we were just playing their song last week on the pod, and then obviously Pavement, Built to Spill. A lot of legends up in there.
Now we're getting into the zone. I can't wait to watch Pavement with you as the sun sets over fucking Austin, Texas.
I just like that Brian's Jonestown and the Dandy Warhols are on the same festival lineup.
Hopefully,
in 2025.
maybe we should try to get them together.
Yeah,
maybe we kind of set it up. On stage meeting.
It'll be a Jerry Springer style episode of How Long Gone.
Exactly. But also get your tickets for our shows this summer. Those are up on the How Long Gone website as we speak. You can click the link, get the tickets. And all right, anyway, our guest today, legendary actor, musician, Jeff Goldblum.
Rock on tour. He is
currently in the midst of a 4-night sold out show at the Carlyle in New York, and then he's playing Bowery Ballroom on Sunday, I believe.
We play the same venues as Jeff Goldblum. That's so cool. Well, let's try to see. I'm going to try to see if I can figure out what room he's in over at the Carlyle. Drop the room number, King. All right, let's give him a zoom.
I've got a purple smoothie and a pink smoothie.
Oh,
hold on, Jeff. You're double fisting Earth Bar right now?
Yes, sir, I am. I don't know if there's a picture of me with 2 ice cream cones like that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, for your next Spotify visualizer, I was looking because back in the day we used to have music videos, and now it's visualizers. So when you play one of your new jazzy snapping songs on Spotify, instead of a video of you dancing, it's just you licking a beautiful cone of ice cream or sorbet or gelato of some kind.
Well, there is, I think.
So you're a licker.
I am a licker, that's right, which rhymes with kicker, which is one of the songs we do now by Joe Henderson. And we're trying to come up with lyrics, by the way. So if you can, by the end of this podcast,
I got my notepad.
Okay, a nice rough draft of da 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 da. All the things you have to come up with the lyrics for the kicker. Bicker, clicker. Flicker.
Sure. Let me open my notes app now and kind of get started. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna work on this song.
We can discuss points on the whole deal. I don't need a full songwriting credit, but 50% royalties seems fair.
Well, I'm no negotiator, but I'll put that in the hands of the people on the team who can do that. We won't try to screw you. I would just say whatever's fair.
I trust you for some reason. I know we just met, but I trust you to give me fair splits.
Yeah, don't fuck me on this, Jeff.
I need this, Jeff. I need this.
You can trust me. Look in my eyes. What do you see?
I thought you might be wearing some Jacques Marie Mage sunglasses today. You have them ready, I hope. Yeah, there we go. Okay, thank you. I almost didn't recognize you.
Yeah, I know. These are not only are these Jacques Marie Mage, but as I'm sure I bragged before, these are the Jeffs.
You got the signature model, which is a goal for I'm a big JMM guy myself, and they haven't offered me the same kind of treatment. So hopefully one day I'll get there.
You're a shoo-in. I don't know why you've been left behind. Maybe they're surprising you for your 30th birthday.
I think it's because he is not even close to really being famous enough to get his own JMM. I mean, maybe for a lesser brand you could do a little short run, but
No.
I think you'd be surprised who they've collaborated with.
That's a good point.
Chris Black, they're probably frightened. They're intimidated. They probably don't hope to think that you could ever do that with them. But I will not put in a word because I know Jerome Mage. I'm going to say, Chris Black might be interested.
I think it would mean a lot coming from you, and I appreciate that.
Well, I don't know about that. It'll mean very little. I carry no weight at all.
How many colors of the Jeff are there?
Good question. We've released in the past, I think there's a goldish, a mustardy, goldish thing. There's a white and black zebra stripe, believe it or not.
Oh.
And then there's this blackish one. There might be a kind of tortoise shell brownish.
How often are you rocking the zebra though?
I got it in my drawer at home, even though I've tried to, clip away the detritus and get it to a very, very manageable, as few things as possible. So I have the zebras. I must say I have not been reaching for them.
Sure.
You open the drawer, you see the zebras, you're like, I'm Jeff Goldblum, and this is a little much for me. You know what I mean?
Well, it is a special occasion. The zebras might be
black tie. I think it's a black tie kind of situation. Is what maybe.
I like what you're saying. We could talk all about that. I have, you know what I like? Speaking of black tie, I like to tie my own bow tie these days. I think there's a big difference between a pre-tied thing and something. You know what I'm really looking for? I keep Googling a big floppy bow tie because I look at Frank Sinatra, those pictures in the early days.
Yeah.
I kind of want something I have something in mind that's a little like that. Once you tie it, it's a little bit floppy.
You want it to be a little billowy, a little like the ears of a basset hound puppy. Too big for his head.
I like the floppy bow tie as well. I've yet to learn how to tie one, and last time I had to wear one, my friend Sam Hine had to tie it for me in like a rush. I did feel emasculated 100%.
Oh no, you mustn't. You reek of testosterone. You could never, even if somebody's tying your tie. Your masculinity.
There's nothing more humbling than a good-looking man already in a tuxedo standing behind you like you're his son tying a bow tie in front of other people. It's a fun.
Gotta lower the T count a little bit. Is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm used to it. If you do movies, if you're shooting on Fifth Avenue and they've got all the lights stopped and somebody is, a sound guy is telling you to undo your pants and, untuck and putting a microphone up, you're used to all that.
You got to do it. You got to do it. The choice is not yours.
Well, we have a lot of fashion designers and people that work in fashion who listen to this show, so I'm sure we're going to get an assortment of oversized floppy bow ties sent over to the Carlyle. Just need your room number and we'll get it sorted.
I'll give you everything. Hey, I didn't mean to do it in order to reach out, but now that you mention it, I'll be accepting any offerings, with delight.
Now, Jeff, when you shop, where are you shopping? Online? Are you going to stores?
You are so funny. I'll tell you everything. Then I want to hear about you guys. Me, currently, I've gone through decades of obsessing over one thing or another. I wake up in the middle of the night and go, I know the T-shirt I need. And then I go and I find it and I get it in every color. Well, I was set straight about 10 years ago when Andrew Vitero joined my inner circle and we started to collaborate deliciously on all manner of things. There was a GQ shoot, in fact, and he was there. I started to gab away. You can see I'm a little chatty, especially when I'm enthusiastic about clothes. And these people knew I knew that they would know. And so, but how about this? And where should I shop here? And all that. So the same questions. And then after a couple of days of that, I said, hey, one of you should come to my closet if you'd ever be interested and tell me what jeans to throw away, et cetera, et cetera. He volunteered and we've been sort of working together for the last 10 years. And so here's what happened. So before I'm talking about in the era prior to his joining, which is me shopping, higgledy-piggledy and without much education, because really to do that, you need to be spending a lot of time looking at everything and knowing everything. Yeah. I still know nothing, but with him on the team, first of all, we slowly but completely redid my closet. I don't think I have a single article that was there before he started. And we're very careful about what to buy. I don't just do search, the development and research and just get things that I then are sure to throw away. I still give away a lot of things, prune things out, like I alluded to with the glasses, but it's only after being selective to pull the trigger on. So anyway, he tells me, kind of where we might do our best shopping. And, Prada has been very nice to me. Mrs. Prada, I happen to know. I don't want to brag, but she's a superstar and a fantastic person. And she's been very generous. And I've done a little work with them. And who else? Jonathan Anderson. He was at Loewe and I was shopping around there. Hey, I'm wearing right now. They can't see
you look great
at home, but you can see this Miu Miu little jacket that I purchased recently. And I'm a little independent now sometimes of Andrew Vitero, although he was on FaceTime actually. And I sent him pictures. I said, hey, I'm in here in Florence, Italy, where we've been spending a lot of time. And I said, hey, I'm going to try on 2 jackets. What do you think? And this and a couple other colors. He said, the brown one like this. So he kind of said that.
If he's not there physically, he's there with you spiritually and digitally.
Exactly. He really is. But then this Borsellino hat, I went to the Borsellino store in Florence, Italy. I tried on a bunch of things, took some pictures, and we wound up with this, which is now my go-to favorite hat. This and that. I'm wearing a pair of shoes. I wish I could be more flexible. There you see something. And that is my first, besides costumes, whether it's Milena Canonero on Wes Anderson movies or Broadway shows, or Paul Tazwell on Wicked, who won the Oscar for that. He made some boots for me for the Wizard, and Milena, makes everything. But in my personal life, I have not had a bespoke pair of handmade shoes. But if you're in Florence, Italy, if you're not going to get it there, that's the time, that's the place. And so I happened into a place a couple of blocks from where we are, who said, hey, this is where Daniel Day-Lewis learned how to make shoes when he was off from acting for a little bit. And anyway, they made me this pair of shoes. And when I go home next time in a couple of weeks back to Florence, waiting for me is the next pair that I ordered. It's I don't want to spoil the surprise, but it is an oxblood Cordovan Bordeaux colored, kind of thing, as you've seen some shoes. I don't have any like that now. And it's a wingtip. So that's being cooked up.
Because once you are measured, then you're locked in. So unfortunately, you just can send a few emails and the shoes are getting made.
Yes,
and the credit card's getting charged. More importantly,
yes, or yes.
More than happy to have the credit card charge for a bespoke pair of shoes that fit your foot perfectly.
We have to keep our artisans in business. That's important.
Well, that's what Florence. That's the place. You see, it's so delightful to walk down any street, which is a jewel box of a postcard. And you see these people working like they do, these artisans. And in this shop that I go to, there are these couple of women who are making shoes there just themselves. And what you're talking about is is that wooden thing that they make exactly to your foot after they've done all kind of measurements. And now that they have that, yes, it's a little less expensive, now that you brought it up, to have the second because they've already got the last.
You got that out of the way.
And they're pretty, and compared to some other places I checked out, they're kind of modestly priced. So I'm happy about that. Anyway, that's all an answer to where my.
Well, to go back, we're talking on the subject of closet edits and Miss Prada. Do we still have the flame shirt in the closet, or has that one gone to the real yet, Jeff?
Good eye. Hey, they gave me a bunch of for another cycle of band touring. They allowed me to introduce several of those shirts that I think are quite brilliant. And the answer to your question is, not only did I wear them happily, but I have them. They're very generous, and they gave me a bunch of stuff.
Let me say something, Jeff. You and that flame Prada shirt influenced a lot of people who can't rock the flame Prada shirt to try. And for that you were guilty. But today we're gonna let you off with just a slap on the wrist.
You're in the penalty box. 5 minutes. That's it.
Oh, that's very funny. That's very funny. Yes, you're right. There's not one size doesn't fit all. And certain ideas are not right for everybody. I have my limitations, certainly. And
we all learned that, some the hard way, some the easier way.
Yeah.
So now that you're in Florence, do you feel like you've figured out the toll roads? Because I'm still getting text in Italian about how my account is in collections from a toll charge from 2021.
I'll tell you the whole story. It is daunting. I drive in Los Angeles, but in Florence, who drives? My wife, Emily. Of course, she was an Olympic athlete. She was the Pan American champion the year she went to the Olympics for rhythmic gymnastics. Ooh. She still has the soul and the musculature and the nervous system of a world-class athlete.
Okay, Jeff.
It comes in handy as somebody who has to spend time with me and take care of our kids and learning tennis and doing all kinds of things you can't imagine. She's a champion. and she drives. She's intrepid and very skillful and nimble. And there are many things we could talk about not only the tolls, but the particular streets, the width of the streets and the sidewalks, and the pedestrian traffic that's kind of different. And of course, these days, everybody's on their devices. Tourists, I have those devices. Don't get me started on that. And we could talk all about that. But she drives and she knows the ins and outs of the one-way streets that change every couple of days and all those. So she does it. And I sit in the passenger seat and put the seat back as far as it can go without crushing my kids' legs in the back.
That's a nice way to do it. Florence is very, very charming, but it also seems like a place I wouldn't want to drive. But you need to get out of town sometimes.
Yeah, well, we get around. Being located there, one finds himself, especially with Emily Goldblum, getting things scheduled every weekend.
Yeah, you're 2 hours away from dozens of world-class destinations.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, we're going to, after I finish this little endeavor here in New York City. We're at the Carlyle Hotel this week, and then the Bowery, and we've got our book sign and our record signing, at Barnes and Noble. Mm-hmm. That's tomorrow, and then I go on the Seth Meyers show on Monday. Then I take off right from the Seth Meyers show, having already checked out of the hotel, to the airport and go to Rome, Italy.
Bravo.
where I'm going to meet Emily there because she's right now there with the kids in Florence. She will meet me in Rome because we have some dinner with art people. We like art, and we know some of these people who are in the art world. Anyway, we're going there with some friends. It's a very friendly city, Florence, and
I've noticed
it's a friendly city. It's a friendly place.
It sure is. And then from there we go to Portofino, where I had been once because our band plays the reopening of the Splendido Hotel. For those who may know that, that was Greek to me until recently, until we were booked there. But it's apparently quite the place. And then she and I take off to a place we've never been to. I hate to brag. Maybe this is making me less relatable, but there you go. I apologize to anybody who finds this unattractive. But then she and I are going off to Capri or Capri, however you say it. And neither of us have been there. And you know who we know, just to brag some more, are the couple whose family built the, what's it called? Wait, it has a name, but it's that house that was used in the Jean-Luc Godard movie called Contempt, with Jack Palance and Brigitte Bardot.
Oh, it's called Casa Malaparte in Capri.
Exactly, that's Malaparte. And so we know those people, and so we're going to visit that house. You can only get there by boat.
Oh, that's the one where the outside of the house is a big staircase that you go up.
I knew I was talking to the right people.
So Jeff, hold on. When you're on holiday and you got these little stinkers running around, you got your wife there. What are you doing? You trying to read? You trying to play Wordle? Like, what are we doing?
You're so funny. Well, we love to bond with each other and the kids, because they're in school and stuff. So we're just left.
How old are these kids, Jeff? Sorry, how old are the kids?
8 and 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 boys. We rent a keyboard if we can because we don't want them to miss, and I don't want to miss out on my daily practice. And I help them with their daily practice. They were recently on stage with us at the Palladium in London. They came and they played their pieces that they were working on, Flight of the Bumblebee and the theme song to James Bond. The audience went crazy and they had a good time.
Oh, that's nice.
So but they're serious, or at least we're serious about still, exposing them to the possibility of making this part of their life, and they're playing. So we do that, which they give us. They are sometimes more reluctant on vacation, especially. They're like, "We're here. Why do we have to keep doing this, et cetera, et cetera?" and then if we get through that, there's games galore. They are nothing if not playful, as I am. And they have card games. We have different kind of cards. You know what they love now? Monopoly. They love to play Monopoly.
Really?
And they're very good. I never considered myself, I played it, but I don't get thrilled about being a mogul or a tycoon.
A slumlord? Slumlord, Jeff.
Jeff, don't take this the wrong way, but maybe you should cheat a little bit. You know what I mean? Just I kind of remind those guys who's boss. You know.
Well, that's funny you should mention that. No, I'm strictly against that. And they, they think it's as many kids do. And I thought for a big part of my life that it was cute to cheat.
That's when you're wrong, children. It is not cute to cheat.
It is not. I say it ruins everything, and I try to model the non-cheating for them and catch them whenever I can and tell them why it ruins all the fun.
No, it's like, Dad, why'd you install these cameras in our rental house? I don't know. I don't understand.
No. I'm no spy. But you know who hipped me to that is Jo Beth Williams in the cast of The Big Chill. We were all ensconced in South Carolina, and we used to get together and play because we were all in the same compound, play charades a lot. And I thought it was cute at that point. I was like, 30 years old. Still at that point, though, I was kind of, when nobody was looking, I thought, oh, it's cute. I hope somebody catches me. Maybe they'll think this is funny of me looking at the clues. She got so mad when she caught me and embarrassed me to my core. I burned with shame. And ever since then, I have never cheated on a game. What do you think of that?
You got a real bop on the nose.
That's a strong lesson.
You listen forever.
That's a strong lesson.
Yes, a pop on the nose. She broke my nose. I still
like it's crooked.
Used to look like it's
crooked.
I'm still in recovery.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Well, I mean, it's a great lesson. Well, I guess speaking of, wandering around. Well, actually, first before this question, when you go to Rome, what's the one spot you go to get your pasta?
Ooh, well, I love to talk about food, but I don't know. I don't know the places, and I'm sure there's so many. I mean, I guess one correct answer is any place you happen to sit down.
Sure.
I'm easy to please, and But let me see. But in Florence, there's a couple of places. Even Stanley Tucci said Dalla Lola, which is right around the corner from our house, we go to, and Camillo is very nice.
Camillo is what I was going to say. That's the only that should they reopened, right? Were they closed for a little while?
Well,
maybe not.
Hey, I didn't know. So you've spent a bunch of time there, really. You know it.
I've been to Pitti a couple times. Not like I've been to Pitti Uomo, the fashion a couple times, but not like I haven't spent that much time there.
See, but Camillo, yeah, people know. You know who not to drop names, but Wes Anderson said, "Hey, where should I go? You now know Florence better than I do." We turned him on to Camillo. He said that's my favorite place there.
It's a great restaurant.
It's
a great restaurant.
Chiara is always there at the helm, and her daughter Matilda has Dalla Lola.
Okay, I got you.
Away, really, really good.
Okay.
But Rome, I don't know.
Well, I'll give you a rec. My favorite spot is called Osteria da Zi Umberto.
Okay.
Just a little small. The waiters are smoking cigs while they're dropping the pasta. You're having a long kind of wine, boozy lunch.
Sounds great.
It's perfect. My favorite, Amatriciana.
I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to go there.
I'll send it to Marla. I'll send her the TripAdvisor link. Don't worry. But on the subject of Tucci, now that he seems to be this kind of gourmand, jazzy guy bopping around Italy, eating the gelatos just like you. Is he sort of the Jordan to your bird now in the culinary space of daddies traveling on television?
He's the bird in that he's Charlie Parker. I'm Thelonious Monk in this.
Okay, you're Thelonious. He's Charlie Parker. Okay.
No, I'm nothing. I'm nothing. I sit at his feet. You know who I had the thrill? I'll bet you know about him. He now passed away sadly, but I had the privilege of talking to Jonathan Gold.
Of course.
In Los Angeles. And of course, he has the documentary City of Gold, and he will tell you in Los Angeles when he was around, where the places that he thought one should eat at, because Los Angeles, it may not be as charming looking or as aesthetically specific as Florence, but he said if you know the right places to go, some of these mini malls, you'll get some, terrific family authentic food there, here and there.
Yeah, I'm from the school of Jay Gold. Growing up in Los Angeles as a young gourmand, I feel like I'm trying to follow in his footsteps. But but also, I don't want you to besmirch Los Angeles's landscapes. There is a beautiful meme that I've seen where it's a photo of kind of the rolling hills of Florence, and it says, most of Italy kind of looks like the city of Bakersfield when you really boil it down.
That's so funny.
Would you care to comment on that, Jeff?
Lest you misunderstand me, I think Los Angeles is very beautiful. As Werner Herzog says, it's the most interesting place in America. And if you want to see a documentary that might interest you, there's one called "L.A. Plays Itself." Do you know it?
Oh, I've seen that actually, and
I think that's really interesting. And many of these movies that are located in Los Angeles, and it kind of compares how they're depicted with the real history of Los Angeles. He's very smart.
Oh. Have you lived in several different neighborhoods? In L.A.? Did you start off in the Valley and then hit Santa Monica and then go eat? What's the trajectory?
That's funny. Well, I've been in Los Angeles more than any city in my life. I moved there long before you were born, and for several decades now. And I started off in Hollywood, right on Franklin near La Brea, in some little apartment there, and then went to sort of near Larchmont, with an apartment there, and then moved in with a girlfriend to Los Feliz. That was sort of nice and interesting.
Women love to live in Los Feliz.
Jeff, we have the same trajectory, I gotta say.
I know. You could be. I could. If I was handsomer, you could be my grandson. We would be related. And then I did.
I sit at your feet, Jeff.
In Sherman Oaks, up Canyon near the Great Greek. And that was a funny little place. And then about 40 years ago, I got this house where I still am up in the Hollywood Hills behind the Chateau Marmont, which is getting renovated very excitingly for me. These last few years, it's going to be done this summer.
The house, your house.
Yeah.
So did we do a full gut? Like how far are we going? Just a new kitchen, new bathrooms? How crazy is the renovation?
I am so excited. I won't bore you with all the details or show you. If I was with you, I'd show you my phone and some videos that people are taking because we're not around there right now. So we have to rely on some videos. Here's what's happening. We have it's cozier than it sounds, but there's a main house that we sort of did.
It's cozier than it sounds.
There's several buildings on a single piece of property, and then we kind of go from
No. There's only, besides that, there's a so-called guest house that was a funky kind of place that somebody put up before I got there in the 70s. It remained sort of what it was until these last couple of years when Barbara Bester, who's a fantastic, if you know her, architect in Los Angeles, collaborated with us, and now we're so excited about what it's becoming. It's they took it down to its studs, and there was a lot of foundational.
Oh, sure. The hills. It's tough up there.
Yeah, it needed a lot of work, and it's going to be
no recording studio.
There's a couple of pianos in a couple of different rooms with the kids playing and me playing that I think are going to be new acquisitions that I'm very, very excited about. There's a place where I can do these Zooms like this, because up until now, I don't know what most people do, but, it's been catch as catch can, and you jerry rig a little, backgrounder here and there. I said to Barbara Bester, maybe if there's a place in this room where I can have quiet, it's in the guest house, and I can set up a corner that is really might be camera ready and picturesque. I'm excited about that.
That's nice.
If you come over to my house. We'll be there in the summer, and I'll show you all around.
Okay.
I need a pool check if I'm going to come over during the summer.
There's a pool.
Okay.
There is a pool. There is a pool. There is a pool that I like very, very much. Yeah, I put it in since I've been there, and I like it very much. Inside the pool, under the water, on one of the steps going in, I put my initials with Emily's initials. There's an EJ. If you're swimming underwater, you can see the mosaic of EJ. Isn't that sweet?
Damn, that's beautiful.
That's very romantic.
There's a lot of husbands listening to this right now who now have to do that because their wife just heard you say that. So we gotta drain the thing, call the tile guy.
Luckily, Jeff, our listeners probably are still not quite at the place where they're putting the pool in, but this is something for them to aspire to, and that's good.
Don't say that. Our advertisers are listening, Chris. Brought to you by Rolex.
I apologize about this whole thing. I know I seem like a nincompoop.
No. We're Jeff. You're a celebrated man for decades. It would be weird if you didn't have a beautiful home in Los Angeles. We expect you to live near the chateau and not in Downey.
That's baseline.
There's
that's baseline.
No need to qualify anything.
Well, thank you. But I'd be nothing, if I hadn't gotten together with Emily, because she's the mastermind behind this, it would be the same house. I'd be having to get the dust out of the corners and stuff. And in my refrigerator would be one takeout carton of Chinese food, which
I can imagine a bachelor Jeff in his heyday. You know what I mean? I can imagine what that looks like.
You got the TV sitting on top of the old TV.
It had something like that, but now it's, I'm a regular fella. I'm a right citizen.
I mean, without the women in our lives, we are nothing, Jeff. And all that is to say, you were mentioning you've got a beautiful woman from a dance gymnastic background. She probably has a great core strength, and she's also from Toronto. Chris is also he's married to a Canadian woman with great core strength. Do you have any tips on being married to a Canadian woman specifically?
I need this, Jeff. I need this.
Well,
they're a temperamental bunch.
Not temperamental, the opposite of temperamental, although she's got a very particular entertaining. She makes me laugh more than anybody else. And the answer to the question is just be grateful and cherish every day that you can be in their presence, and just sit at her feet and serve whatever you can do to make her life a little more pleasant, because it's a great lucky miracle that we've gotten together with these.
All right, Jeff, what else you got? Anything else?
Where is she from? Is she from Toronto?
She's from Toronto, exactly right. Yeah. She's from Toronto, where we shot The Fly, and where I've done this and that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's from Toronto, and we're going to play Toronto, as a matter of fact, upcoming in our tour. I'll be back there, and all her friends, will hopefully be there. And
I wouldn't want to be your tour manager that night. Guest list is going to be a bitch. That's going to be tough.
What's going to be a bitch? Because my tour manager's right here. His ears.
The guest list. When wife's friends want to come, the guest list gets crazy. The guest list.
I hope so. She's a social butterfly. She has, as you can imagine, she's attracted a large group of admirers and cohort.
Sure. Okay,
I'd like to say the same about myself.
So you're currently in the middle of doing a little run of shows at the Carlyle, which we actually did a live podcast there a couple of years ago. What an amazing room. We played no music. We just had media elites come on, and we sort of made fun of them for an hour.
That sounds fantastic. I wish I'd come. It's a great room, isn't it? It's unique. There's nothing like it around any part, and certainly these parts. It's so beautiful. That decoration and that mural on the wall is great, and you can still feel the presence of Bobby Short, who's there, whose picture is on the wall, and some painting of him on the wall. And, they now named a street outside there, Bobby Short Place. It's his 100th. He'd be 100, I think, this year.
Wow.
So it's just great to be there. And we've got a good band that's there. We've played now a couple of nights, and it's been really delightful.
Okay. I had a question in terms of being in a jazz group. You're playing with your band, you know them well. How do you let them know when it's time for them to stop, quote unquote, taking it for a walk? You know what I mean? Like, let's bring it back in and kind of bring the show home. You know what I mean? You give them a look. Is there a wink?
If they've soloed too long?
Basically.
Well, first of all, don't go by me, because these guys are virtuosos, all of them, and I can't get enough of them. And I would never have not once had the impulse to, that's enough of you, Joe Gilman or Alex Frank.
That's enough of you.
No, but Alex Frank is we were talking about this morning. He's our creative director, and he on stage, he does what you're talking about, sort of. He keeps an eye on the clock and the sense of show business showmanship, and tells us if we need to drop a number or limit the solos, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So somebody's keeping Jeff in line, because you like it too much. You're having too much fun.
You got to leave them wanting more at the end of the show. They got to say, that Goldblum was great. I would like one more song. You got to wait till next year, babe.
That's the credo, and I hope we're living up to that.
Now, how often? Okay, so are you at the point where you're like turning down acting stuff so you can go out with the fellas? Or are you're just doing both?
I'm doing both, and so far there hasn't been an excruciating conflict. Acting I'm still as excited about acting as ever, and I'm getting choices more delightful than ever. I feel at the top of my form, but so far it hasn't happened that it's conflicted with anything. So far, and of course, I've got that most important hat to wear, which is the father of Charlie and River and husband to Emily, and I can't shortchange that. Most importantly, so there's a few little plates to spin.
Yeah, you're
simultaneously.
You're spinning. It's impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, it's like those Pac-Man games, or I don't know, whatever the kids are playing these video games these days. Yes, it gets a little harder as you go on, but that's a good problem to have.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the last person that made you audition?
Audition. Wait a minute. I mean, if you're in that mindset, everything you do is sort of a qualification for the next.
I would agree.
Yes, you know what I mean. But even by your own standards. But if you're talking about the literal. Oh, I know what I'm thinking about, what you triggered a thought in me. I had a meeting with somebody who has a slate of movies that they're doing and this and that. And I was hoping that I would make an impact in this little meeting, even though they know my work, but I'd never met them. So it was a kind of audition of sorts. And you know what? I remembered that I liked it. I like auditioning. Mm-hmm. I used to like that idea, which is, hey, show them your stuff and let's be on the same page and both enjoy our passion for trying to solve this thing together and see if I can serve any purpose in helping you solve your situation. And I like it. I like a kind of thing like that. And if I start a movie and I haven't auditioned or there hasn't been a table read, I like to get together with the director anyway, if I can, and show them all my stuff. And I go, hey, if I'm on the wrong page, this is what I'm thinking. So tell me now, replace me now, or set me right, and let's start working together.
Before
I like
we get
that
out there.
kind of thing.
Sounds like EJ taught you some communication skills. I like that.
Who? EJ?
Your wife?
Oh, EG?
EG.
Oh, you said EJ. Oh, that's right. Well, no, you're thinking of the mosaic at the bottom of the pool. E is her, J is me. But she is Emily Goldblum.
So Emily took your last name is what I was getting at.
You're thinking about the mosaic at my pool.
She did take my last name. She was Livingston before that, but she took my name, even though she's a quite progressive and modern.
I'd take your name too, Jeff. I'd take your name too. Depending on where I'm trying to get a dinner reservation. You know what I mean? It's probably comes in handy.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but Chris Goldblum, actually my name isn't Goldblum. My grandfather from Russia was named Pavartsik, and he changed it to Goldblum when he came to our fair land here. But Chris Black, come on, Chris Black. Jack Black?
Sure.
I know of him. We're not personally friends. Yeah. I would say that Jack Black is too on the nose, and Chris Black is kind of the perfect expression of that idea. Mm-hmm. I'm biased, obviously, but I have to be honest with you.
Black is a great, great last name, as is Stewart. Jason Stewart, you're not related to John Stewart, are you?
No, sadly, I'm not. I used to tell people Rod Stewart was my uncle when I was a small child, when they were too young to really be able to fact check it or not.
I like Rod Stewart. We used to be handled by the same manager, Arnold Stiefel. I think he's probably still managed by Arnold Stiefel. And you know who worked for Arnold Stiefel when I was with Arnold early on was Tina Sanatra. She was who's the daughter of Frank, she was my agent for a while, and we're still in touch with her. I'm crazy about her. I'm reading this 2-volume book on Frank Sinatra, and I have now many questions if I can pester her with them. And how about that?
I just talk to you for 1 second? I have some follow-ups I would like to ask. Just,
That's great. It's nice when somebody, so you were working with her, what, in the 80s or 90s or something like that?
Yeah, more even like the 70s.
Oh, okay. So Frank Sinatra's daughter is making you reservations at the Ivy or wherever it might be.
Well, she was trying to get me jobs. She wasn't manager. She was an agent, and I didn't care about getting in any restaurants. I just wanted to be an agent. My agent before that was Abby Greshler, who had handled Martin and Lewis. He was old by that time, and he said, "Oh, you should call the." That's when hardly anything was going on for me. You should call the office every day and check in. You call us, and there was this lady receptionist.
You call us,
and I'd say, hello, this is Jeff Goldblum. And before I finished Goldblum, she'd go, hold on.
No one was super excited to hear from you, is what you're saying.
He was not super excited. Tina Sanatra was, a step up. She was great.
Speaking of names, Tina Sanatra is powerful. Oh. That is a powerful name.
Are you kidding? Tina Sanatra. Well, Sanatra and Tina. Oh, Tina's great. She's great. And of course, his other daughter, Nancy, these boots are made for walking.
Sure.
Or something stupid. And then we wind up saying something stupid like, I love you. Oh, boy.
I guess when you're gonna come back to Los Angeles after your summer in Italy, what is the first food or restaurant or meal that you're craving when you get back into town?
Into Los Angeles. Well, you have it, except you have it mixed up. We spend most of our school year, because the kids are in school in Italy, and then in summers we come back to Los Angeles. So
okay.
I'm excited about coming to Los Angeles. Let me see.
Because you're like, whenever I go travel, in Europe or Asia, there's certain, like, Mexican food is one for me where I'm unable to really get it, maybe in Montepulciano, where it's up to my standards. But when I get back to LA, I can go and get that. You know what I mean?
I get very excited about getting back to LA or here in New York. But LA, because Florence is very nice, but yes, all the restaurants are mostly Italian. They really,
as they should be.
Yeah, as it should be. But foods of many lands in Los Angeles and in America, of course, yes, Mexican food. Closer you get to Mexico, the better it is. Los Angeles, very, very good. Sushi. I like Japanese food, and certainly L.A. has some, what's that place that I just discovered on La Cienega? Wait a minute, Sushi
Fumi?
Sushi Fumi.
Sushi Fumi.
I went there once, sat at the sushi bar with my kids because the line starts at 5:30 when they open.
The line is no joke.
But I got there about 5:15 and was the first in line. I got into the sushi bar. Hey, that was good. I'm excited about going back there. I mean, there are many places for sushi in Los Angeles, but that was pretty good.
Parking's a little tough, Jeff. I'm going to be honest with you. Just right there on La Cienega, it's kind of
parking?
Yeah, it's just a little. It's.
I know what you mean. I get bugged by the unavailability of parking. So sometimes I've gone to restaurants. I go, well, I wanted to go here, but I'll be darned if I can't find a place. I'm going to go someplace else.
You're going to turn it around and go.
Yeah. I think that all the time. What it must have been like driving around Los Angeles in the 70s when, there was a few 100 million less people and just less cars, and the roads were free and open, and there wasn't just 10 hours to go from LAX to the east side. Like, what was it? How amazing did that feel?
It was amazing, although I'm not the best person to ask. I wish I had my fingers on the overview, the high altitude view of everything that was going on then. But, my part of the elephant, me feeling the trunk, I anecdotally, yes, I could. It was a little different. And of course, they didn't have what I love now is a GPS. There are many pitfalls to the new technology, as you know, which we could talk about. But I like you used to have that Thomas guide, and I was never a good map reader, and I was terrible. You do roll down the window. Which way is the beach, and which way is, are we close? Because another bugaboo of mine, you come to intersections and there's no sign. You go, hey, you have to turn on, Motor Avenue, but you've passed streets and there's no sign. I might have passed it already, but the GPS, the guy talking to you solves all of that.
Yeah.
But it was better with less traffic. That's certainly true. Yes, and parking.
But there's something romantic about rolling your window down and saying, "Hey, which way is the beach?" And they point that direction, and that's the direction you go, and you keep driving until you see the beach, and you say, "We're at the beach." And that's, maybe you go to a shitty beach, maybe you go to the best beach you've never been to. But that's what you did. And nowadays it's like, okay, I planned that thing and we're 37 minutes away and I found the parking lot here and then we're going to go to lunch here. And that's the type of stuff that I feel like we're a little too wound up in nowadays.
I don't need help getting dumber. I'm doing that all on my own. But the phone seems to be assisting, holding my hand through that rigorous process.
Well, I'm of two minds. I agree with you, Chris Black. That was my original point, that I'm very happy to be helped in all these ways, because I have a terrible sense of direction and I really need all the help I can get. But I know what you're talking about, Jason Stewart, in that I do like the less result-oriented approach to life, and
meandering approach.
Let's see where our adventure leads us, and maybe mistakes. There's no mistake. They're all happy accidents.
But how many, like right now, I feel like you're not getting too many days off. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I have to be very economical with my energies these days, although I feel at top of my form.
You are double fisting smoothies right now, and we'll get into your peptide plan later on at the end of the show.
Yeah, I want to know how many shots you're giving yourself at the Carlyle before you hit the stage.
Shots of what?
You tell me, Jeff. I mean, because you're 72.
Yeah.
You're in better shape, healthier, better looking than most men half of your age. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. It's an objective fact.
Yeah, that's objective.
So, that leads me to ask the question, how long have you been taking peptides for? And could you share the names and kind of milligram amounts, please?
Because I'm not falling for my skincare routine shit with you either. Don't try that.
I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you everything that I'm doing. But of course, we all fail at some point. We're coming and going very quickly. But, I'm trying to make the most. And as per your original question, yes, my calendar, my days are full, and I still have to, I'm very careful about making the most of them. And that is to say, I go to sleep and try to get my sleep. And then I try to eat whatever Joe Bagg says, because he's our band nutritionist, whatever he says is the latest, miracle food, and like that. Of course, Emily has her own views on that, and so I wind up doing what I can, and then I work out. There's a nice, even on the road, I like to work out daily and do things.
What's the routine look? What's the routine looking like? Body weight? What are we doing? Running?
Yeah. What are you going to do down at the Carlyle gym after this?
Here's what I do. I know that gym pretty well because I've stayed there before on an extended little period, and I had to remind myself, what do they have a gym here? Oh yeah, this place. Yes, I know that place. I've been there the last few days steadily. It's very, adequate. You can do all the things that I do. And I do a quick kind of thing, which involves a little cardio on the treadmill and the rowing machine a little bit, which they have, and then a circuit of all the body parts to get into the nuts and bolts of this. I used to, during a certain period, do leg day and then, chest and back day all the time. I don't do that anymore. I just make sure that I get everything done, and I don't have all the time in the world, so I do a focused version of it.
Excuse me if I missed something, but was there ever a role that you had to get absolutely jacked for, or no?
Well, not like I see The Rock has, but he was already jacked for this next wrestler role.
Yeah. His life, he's prepared for life looking like that. He's ready to go.
Well, for The Fly, I did, that's around the time I had just started to really kind of get excited the gym, and I made sure to bring.
You spent a lot of time with your shirt off on the fly.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I apologize. I did, and then I brought my weights I used to travel with my weights here and there, and even on a vacation, I would bring these heavy weights, and I'd do that, and a bag of carrots and a juicer because I thought that was my current experiment. But weights, and on the fly, I remember being in the dressing room and doing things before the scene.
You gotta, Got to get a pump. Got to get a pump before the camera turns on.
Well, as that, back then, as much as I could, and so there we go.
It has changed, though. It has changed. These guys have to get they literally look like they're chiseled from rock. It's a very different. It's not achievable for lay persons like us.
Yeah, I know.
Me and Jason, not you. You could figure it out.
No, look at you, Jason. The audience can't, the listening audience can't tell, but Jason, you're wearing a wife beater. I think it's still not improper to call that. You're showing off all manner of those shoulders and those guns. Wow, you're in good shape,
Jeff. Don't lie to our listeners. Jason's bird chest is on full display here. We call him Big Bird.
Well, Chris is the workout person of the two of us, but I've been doing some working out at home, not on the level of what Chris is doing. He keeps a very strict diet, and I'm sort of the more booze hound, druggy gourmand of the show.
Oh, interesting.
I'm sure you picked that up.
But despite all of that, my body is looking good, isn't it?
It looks fantastic. I'm eager to let your listeners.
Jason, I agree. I'm not saying it doesn't look good. I'm just saying we got to call a spade a spade. That's all I'm saying. I like it.
Okay.
You know, I like what you've done with the place.
So what about because you have access to things. I don't want you to tell me whatever exactly you're taking, but supplements, potions, powders, a little this, a little bit of that. Anything that you found is really working for you? You're just like regular guy, glass of water, glass of OJ.
I'm more a regular guy at this point. The things that I'm doing are not to distort myself into something superior, which I couldn't achieve now. Anyway, it's just
but everyone's getting a little help nowadays in the biz,
Yeah, not me. Okay. I don't have any. I don't believe in juicing. I'm not juicing. Never did.
I feel like you're the kind of guy who washed his face with like bar soap until 5 years ago, and it just worked out for you. That's what I feel like you. That feels like you're.
I have. First of all, yes, I would wash my face with a bar of soap, whichever I found. I like a nice cake of soap, by the way, instead of the squirty things. But I'll just wash my face twice a day, in the morning and then before I go to bed. But recently, I'll be darned if Emily didn't find this facial, because she has 24 steps in her nightly regime. She's got many things.
Of course.
So, she said, hey, you should I went to this facial list recently, Sarah Chapman in London, and she gave me a couple of products, and she says, I told her about the soap, the bar of soap. She said, well, if I could talk you into just a couple of these things, I think because I never wore sunblock either. Mm-hmm. Which my wife and my kids are going, Dad, wear sunblock. They try to put it on me. I was kind of resistant.
Not your kids. They're working against you too. Jesus,
well,
sunscreens in everybody's pocket.
They'd start because they have to do it, so they'd start to gang up on me too. But Sarah said, here, let me give you this and just see if you can put this thing on and this little. So I'm using a couple of things now that I'm enjoying. So there's that, and then food wise, I do pride myself on my oral regime.
Okay.
I get my teeth cleaned a few times a year, and my flossing is better than ever. My brushing is better than ever. And so I'm very happy about that.
Okay. Do you use a floss stick or do you use the string?
I use the string, but more like I wouldn't call it a string. I'd call it the what's it called? The tape, the Dento tape more. It's a coconut brand that is good, doesn't break. I hate it when it breaks, and it's good. I can do it very quickly, but I think effectively too. And I've never had a cavity or a filling, and the cleaner every few times a year says you're doing very well, very well. Sometimes, as you know, they like to rap you on the knuckles and go, you need to do this a little more and watch for this. But I get good grades from them. Wow. And then food-wise, just health-wise, these days, for one reason or another, I've given up meat and poultry. I'm on fish and no dairy, just, oat milk and this and that, and egg whites. And, I've gone through different cycles, like I alluded to before, about experimenting with one thing or another. Mm-hmm. But now, that's my thing. But I'm easy to please. There are many good ways and I'm, in fact, happier. My kids are like cave people, and they like a bone, and they like to get it and chew and disappear anything and take apart a lobster or something like that. Me, I don't like to do any surgery. I don't like any homework. I want either a meatball or something, or I don't want any evidence of animal skin or tendons or anything. So I'm very happy eating some fish.
I would say you and Chris have very, very similar eating habits, and I've always personally believed that the healthiest diet a human can have is being vegan, but you eat seafood.
Well, that's what I'm on now, and isn't just because of my research, although that's not a bad thing to do. But I really do like trusting in the experts. I trust in science. I trust in doctors because I've got some good ones. And if they say, here's what you should be eating for cholesterol or whatever, or one thing or another, that's what I do. And I'm a very good boy and a good patient. And so I adhere to that. Even the doctor says, you can cheat here, don't go crazy with it. But I adhere to it very
judiciously. You learned a long time ago never to cheat, Jeff, especially with your own diet.
There you go. Jo Beth Williams, I owe her everything.
Wow, I like that. So you said cheat day. I don't know her. That's how you get to the next level.
You don't know who?
You don't know the cheat day. You don't
cheat day.
Yeah. Cheat day. Somebody's like, "What's your cheat day?" And you're like, "I'm sorry, I've never heard that phrase before." Is that something that people do?
Cheat day. I like how you gave it a feminine. I didn't know cheat day was.
That's how the kids are talking nowadays. It's kind of the kids are talking.
But I don't know her that cheat day. No, I think it's. Yeah, I've read articles about that recently. No, but that's always felt to me. My instinct has always been, hey, if you're working out hard or you're doing this other stuff, why undermine it with a cheat day? Is it so much fun? Although I like, if I see a piece of pizza or a dessert, I can listen to this. I don't mean to brag. I can take one bite of something.
Oh, fuck you.
I
Fuck
know.
You, Jeff.
I know. I apologize again. I can do that.
How good does it feel to take the bite of this sought-after pastry item or the Sicilian slice that Nona has worked on all day? One bite, straight into the trash can. How good does that feel?
It's a religious ecstasy because I think when you deprive yourself, when you know that you can only have so much, you enjoy it more, somewhat, potentially. Don't you think so?
Mm-hmm. Jeff, I don't think I've ever had dessert that I didn't finish in my entire life. Like, I really think you're aspirational in many ways, but this is really...
That's how we're going to lose that last 5, Chris.
Dude.
That's how we're going to lose that last 5.
And I'll tell you, I had a quirk of psychology such that, I've never told anybody this, but when I go to restaurants, when I have gone to restaurants, I have usually felt, they're really going to think I didn't like it unless I finish the whole plate.
Oh.
But now with this portion control, I'm still trying to do it, still trying to remind myself, you can order it. It's not, I don't want to be wasteful, but you don't have to eat everything. You can eat a little bit of it.
And also you can, if you are afraid of being rude to the chef, you can say like, "Oh, let me just get this to go. It's so good. I want to enjoy it tomorrow." And then you get paparazzi'd with the For Charles bag. The meal's free, and then you can throw it away at the Carlyle when you get home. Nobody's the wiser.
Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
That's what
Everybody wins. Jeff, as we're wrapping up, when's the last time you took a doggy bag, though? This is a hot debate because I've never taken a doggy bag. I think it's embarrassing.
I often take a doggy bag. The last time was, in this last week. I went to a Chinese restaurant. They gave me, I didn't eat everything. There was a big portion of cabbage, spicy cabbage, and so
I had to get that back to the hotel room.
Yeah, and fish. I put it in the refrigerator. Hey, I think I dug into it after it was in the minibar for half a day.
Peanut M&Ms can only go so far. You know what I mean?
Come home after a long day, walking around the town, get a nice handful of spicy cabbage in the mini fridge, set you straight.
Yeah,
it's like a bag of chips for some people.
Move these peanut M&Ms out of here. I've got some cabbage dying on the line.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
that's right.
Jesus.
Great for the gut health as well.
Great for the gut health.
Gut health.
Okay, Jeff. Well, so the record, Jeff Goldblum and the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra. The album is out now, and you're playing shows, and it's jazzy, and you've got some great collaborators on this record, huh?
Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, Scarlett Johansson, Maya Sykes, all are fantastic musicians. Yes, I think it is a lovely piece. I'm quite proud of it, and very happy to be, tooting my own horn, banging the drum to, get the word out.
I also really, I will say, I love the artwork for it. People will try to do like a vintage 70s kind of feel, and you could tell that it's not quite there, but the artwork for this looks like a legitimate album that you'd see in the dollar bin shopping at Amoeba, some old 70s jazz record. It's perfectly done.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. We spent time on that, and Brain Dead, my friend Kyle who makes
what? Really?
Yes. Do you know Kyle And
I do.
Well, he's taken over. He curates his places with the old silent movie theater on Fairfax.
Yes, yeah.
And now their store. He knows movies. In fact, I think this last month he asked me to curate their month-long calendar of movies, which I did. He's fantastic, a great friend, and he and his graphic arts people very generously cooked that up, and we're very happy to have that on the album. My sister, who's a great painter, did some stuff on the inner sleeve, a picture of me, and then some of our merch, so-called, has some their work.
You got the nice little sparrow flying there on the shirt of your merch. Maybe it's a sparrow. I don't know.
Yeah. That's all brain.
You got the JG.
That's really funny.
So okay, beautiful. Well done, Kyle. Well done. Bravo.
Yeah.
Nice to see them expanding out of the streetwear and into the fine arts with Jeff like this. So
ushering them in.
Thank you for taking the time to chat with us. What a treat. What a pleasure.
My treat, pleasure entirely. I can't, that hour went by like 5 minutes. I wish I could hang out with you guys at length. And there we go. Thank you so much.
We'll see you soon, Jeff. We appreciate it.